Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Mom killed herself after dad proposed to stepmom. I'm 14 and I have two brothers, 17 and 15. Our mom and dad told us that they were getting divorced, which was bad enough already. Our dad introduced us to his new girlfriend and it was very obvious they had been seeing each other way before the divorce. And my oldest brother started interrogating her and she admitted that she had been seeing my dad for a year before the divorce. I know maybe it's not good to be taking sides in a situation like this, but my siblings and I all told our mom multiple times that we were on her side and would help her with anything she needs. The three of us went out of our way to help her. We made her favorite foods every day we were at her house, spent hours with her every day talking to her, watched movies with her, etc. My brother would wake up 2 hours early to drop my mom off to work by car instead of her having to take the subway like she usually does. Or if I was at my dad's place doing homework, I would FaceTime my mom and we would just be there together even if we weren't saying anything. I thought my mom was doing good and she looked like she was fine, at least in front of us. But my dad told us that he was planning to marry his girlfriend, which was horrible news. And he had a really long call with my mom and he told her the same thing. The next day in school my siblings and I got called into the office and our dad told us our mom had committed suicide. This was 2 weeks ago. I know it sounds violent, but all I want to do is beat the shit out of my dad and stepmom. I won't actually. My stepmom has never mentioned my mom once and is acting like she didn't exist other than the funeral. She acts nice to us, which makes me even more mad because she's trying to act like a good person after what she did to my family. My dad acted like he was sad for a week and then completely moved on. They're still going forward with the marriage. I hate them both so much. I'm literally starting to cry as I'm writing this. The only things keeping me sane are my brothers and friends. Does anyone have any advice? Ask your dad if you can go to therapy. You're dealing with many complex emotions and there isn't an easy solution. You need help processing your emotions. So, this advice will be how to survive in the right now. Therapy if you can. This one can be hairier for someone your age as you are dependent on your father to provide it. If your school counselors are good, look to them for resources. Everything from counseling to social services to planning on leaving home. How to survive that house. There are good and bad coping mechanisms available. Try to live your emotions as honestly as you can without it blowing up in your face. Lean on family, not dad and affair partner, and friends as much as you can. Start planning on how you will leave. Understand that home may no longer be your safe space and try to find another, library, friend's home, school. Journaling can help you process emotions, but you know best if you need to be cautious of leaving something like that where they could access it. Let someone know if the situation at home becomes unbearable. This is amazing advice. Thank you for adding the journaling. I was scrolling hoping someone would recommend it. It's so helpful in processing grief while also allowing memories, past or present, to live on. I'm honestly surprised that school hasn't already intervened in this situation. Schools don't care. Individual teachers may care, but as a whole the school doesn't care. I've been to schools where horrible people who shouldn't be around children are the principal, and I've been to schools where there's wonderful people in charge who actually care about you. But as a whole schools suck and won't help you. Edit. Also, most schools don't know about your home problems unless you specifically tell them. I doubt a student is just going to go around telling people their parents are divorcing because their dad cheated on their mom and is now staying with the new woman, and they likely won't tell people around school about their mom committing suicide either. They might tell their close friends, but they aren't going to make that public at school. Yeah, I had a student whose mom died at the start of the year and never knew because she never told me, probably because she never came to class so she never had the chance. It wasn't till I was helping her with credit recovery where I learned what happened. There's always privacy laws attached, so everything is confidential unless the student gives you the A-OK to tell others. So yeah, as a whole it does suck and wouldn't intervene in a situation like this. Worst case, a referral is done so the student sees a social worker, but that's only if the right people know. Can't intervene in this home situation because technically no abuse. Just a crappy dad. Yay, schools don't give a flying shit. You can get bullied horribly for years and they won't do shit. And they only care about the perceived public image of the school while also minimizing the damage. What could the school do other than perhaps offer some kind of brief counseling for the mom's death? They aren't set up to provide any care, nor should they be, and there's no reason to involve authorities. Why would the school intervene? I think you and your siblings were amazing the way you treated and helped your mom while she was still alive. You should be very proud of yourself that you did your very best by your mother. I'm so sad for you that you lost her in spite of everything. It is normal to feel great anger towards both your father and stepmother at this time. As far as you can tell, she would still be alive if not for them, and they are not honoring her memory or even acknowledging your loss. Losing a parent is hard under any circumstances, and I think suicides are especially traumatic. There is no question that you and your siblings should be working your feelings out in therapy. I think asking a professional's advice on how you can manage your self-justified anger towards them going forward. You may experience any number of emotions for a long time. Sometimes you might feel despair, anger, as you've said, etc. I think the best thing you can do is stay close with your siblings and be there for each other. I think together you can make it through such a devastating loss, and again a professional therapist to help you manage your feelings in a healthy way. I'm very sorry for your loss. As a side note, just me personally, I would avoid both your father and stepmother as much as possible until you can get things sorted out for yourself. Update: Mom killed herself after dad proposed to stepmom. Original post, update also posted to my profile. If I make another update, I'll post on my profile because I think the rules say only one update. I spoke to one of my school counselors and she gave me the information for a teen support group. I went there earlier with one of my brothers and I thought it was helpful. It wasn't just suicide, it was people whose family and friends died from cancer, car accidents, etc. I'm going again next week. For those of you talking about staying with someone else, my cousin and her husband live in the same city as us. I haven't been staying with them, but my brothers and I have been going there after school and then go back home at night, and she and her husband have been helping us a lot. They've said we can move in with them and we told them we wanted to. They're going to contact a lawyer to see if there's anything that can happen for that. Today we told our dad and stepmom we don't want to stay with them, and he got really upset, not angry, upset, like he started crying. After we told them, our stepmom spoke to us privately and said she had been having a very hard time the past 2 weeks and didn't know what to say because she felt personally responsible for my mom's suicide and that she wishes she could go back in the time and not do any of this. She said if we wanted she would leave our dad and us if it would help us heal from this. I didn't say anything because I didn't know how to reply to that, and we never really gave her an answer. TLDR, speaking to cousin about moving in with her, going to support group, spoke to stepmom about the situation as well. I'm sorry you have to go though, this man. I hope the best for you and your siblings. Hopefully you cousin can adopt you guys or something so you don't have to deal with your dad. I am proud of you for keeping it together as well as you have through what. I will not insult you by saying I know how you feel, because I can't really imagine it. And it is perfectly fine if you don't answer anyone else's questions. This is time for you to mourn, heal, grow and make peace. On your time schedule. Not anyone else's. This is perfectly appropriate for you to want to look out for you and your siblings. Other people have done enough damage, and you don't answer them. Take care of yourself, and I wish you all the best during a difficult time. There's a lot of good advice here and you're doing really well seeking out help. I just want to add something: when you feel any emotion connected to this, let yourself feel it. If you feel anger coming on, don't shove it down. When you want to cry, don't hold back the tears, and when you feel sad, don't block it out. It hurts and it's scary and so much easier to block things out, but letting yourself feel whatever you need to feel will help release the pain. It will be like a weight off your chest after a while. Being strong isn't pushing those emotions away, it's feeling them. You will get through this, just take one step at a time, not matter how small the step, keeping moving forwards. I read your messages in reverse. Which actually were okay. I was 16 when my best friend promised me to my face he'd not commit suicide. He then did it the next morning. I've not done my heartache justice, but can I say this to you? You sound like an incredibly balanced young person. Take all the help on offer, stay close to your brothers, and 100% make time to grieve. I'm of the opinion you may wish to keep your distance from your stepmom. She doesn't sound rational to me. She's going through her own issues, and sadly her and your dad will have to work them out. For now, concentrate on each day as it comes. You have a wonderful life ahead of you, and as my nan always said to me, you can't eat an elephant in one sitting. Stay clear of your stepmom. Man, my heart hurts for you and your brothers. I don't even know what to say. I'm glad you will stay with your cousin now though. I am so proud of you for reaching out and finding that support group with your brother. That was a huge step, heart. I hope that your cousin is successful and you are able to live with them. Praying gesture. Please give yourself permission to ignore your stepmom and dad right now. Especially your stepmom. Give yourself permission to tell them, your guilt is an unfair burden to place on a child. So stop trying to place it onto me, please. Your guilt is an unfair burden to place on a child. This 100x, it's not right of them to be placing their feelings on Op's shoulders. They are going through enough. If they are struggling, they are adults and have the resources to heal. Nobody won here, bro. Nobody. I just hope every last single one of them, stepmom, dad, kids, all of them, get into therapy to figure out how to deal with it if they have any dreams of remaining in each other's lives. Otherwise the kids are gonna lose what family they have left when their dad makes idiotic decisions like plowing forward with a wedding while he has 3 grieving teens. The whole thing is heartbreaking. I think Op may know it's not their dad's fault, but it feels like it is. And those feelings are real. What is true and what feels true are different. I think we've only seen what feels true to Op. But ultimately this idea that it's not technically dad and stepmom's fault will only make Op feel more guilty. Not needed. Rationalizing comes after grief. Suicide is just so devastating for those left behind. My heart hurts for those kids, and I just wish deeply for them that they find themselves in a safe place soon. My mom and my relationship only grew after her divorce. This makes me sad. It's so hard to see the future when your life is crumbling. Frown. GF leaving or dad breaking up with her isn't going to bring the mother back. Those kids need to be away from him no matter what. That relationship is severely broken. Maybe with lots of therapy they can get some closure eventually. As it is now, I can't see how it would be mentally beneficial for any of them for the kids to live with dad. I agree. Even if the stepmom does end up leaving, it would be a bad environment, loaded with resentment. This absolutely breaks my heart. You'd think the father would immediately break up with her when threatened with losing his 3 kids. You'd think, given this new relationship is stable enough to lead to marriage, he could at the very least put it on the back burner while he grieved with his kids. Both dad and GF should realize the kids' needs come first. But, parents are just humans who had kids. Unfortunately, lots of adults are really not very good or wise people. It's probably sunk cost fallacy or a bit of cognitive dissonance for dad at this point. If he breaks up with his affair partner, then it just proves that this was all selfish nonsense, not whatever fated love story he's told himself in his head as justification for having this affair. So he'd rather lose his children than admit he destroyed a whole bunch of lives because he couldn't be upfront and honest about problems he was facing, and instead chose to have a year-long affair and break up his family in the most devastating way. I'm a registered foster parent and I got 3 spare rooms. I'd take them in a heartbeat if it was appropriate. I'm not perfect, but I wouldn't let them down like their dad is doing here. Poor sweet kids. Heartbreaker of a situation. In many places in the US today, 50-50 custody is the norm unless there is severe and proven abuse of the children. So he was never going to lose his kids full time, and to some people having your new GF without kids around half the time is the way to live. Unless you're talking about losing the kids to another family, which would be an oops on my part. I mean, break up with his girlfriend. You'd think hearing that his kids were looking to live with their cousin, he'd break up with his girlfriend. At this point I don't think breaking up with the GF would do anything. The kids were already pissed and blaming him for the divorce, as they should, but when you tack on their mother committing suicide as a result of the dad's actions, it'll be almost impossible for them to forgive him anytime soon. Emo. Getting rid of the GF wouldn't solve the issue because the dad's already betrayed their trust and the resentment is likely too much for them to overcome at this point without some serious therapy. The best thing the dad can do at this point is apologize profusely and let the kids know that he wants to continue his relationship with them whenever they are ready to at their own pace, and if they decide they never want to see him again, they'd be totally justified too. Also, I feel like the GF is genuinely guilty, but she's also probably looking for an easy out at this point and is hoping the kids will provide her with one by telling her to leave. Getting rid of the GF wouldn't solve the issue because the dad's already betrayed their trust and the resentment is likely too much for them to overcome at this point without some serious therapy. I mean, yes, this, but also, there is no getting mom back. So, essentially what GF is saying is that she wants to wash her hands of the whole mess. She thought she was getting the guy with almost grown kids, but instead she got a guy with traumatized kids, who blamed her for the tragedy. There is no good solution here, I feel, other than time and therapy for everyone. What a terrible thing to put on the kids on top of everything else. To have the additional feelings of being responsible for their breakup. I'm so glad they have a cousin in their life. I thought that was terribly selfish of the stepmom as well. She's got this isn't sexy and fun anymore vibes out the wazoo, and of course is too much of a coward to deal with it, and puts it on the children instead. Ugh. Really well said. Have to wonder if GF realized she would be getting 3 kids she hadn't intended and is looking for an excuse to bail. I'm all for this theory, and here's why. She doesn't actually know him. He was showing a completely different person to her. A fantasy life without the hassle of kids and responsibility. All of a sudden this single man that had plenty of time to devote to her has kids that take up a majority of his thought, emotion, and time? That is absolutely not what she signed up for. He sold her a lie. She is just realizing that and trying to bail. One of my close friends found out her husband was cheating on her. After months of drama, my friend committed suicide, leaving 2 small children behind. The guy just moved the other woman in and she plays mom to their family. How can you do that and expect the children to be okay with it? Children are resilient. Children are resilient with the help of adults and a structured environment. If there is no mentor, trusting adult, or grown-up to help guide the child, there can be long-term consequences. But so many adults use resiliency to convince themselves their behavior is okay. Children are resilient in that we develop a mixed bag of coping mechanisms to survive childhood and then have to sort them all out when we reach adulthood. Unfortunately, the worst of the bad coping mechanisms can make it hard to reach adulthood. You are right about that. Resilient children become messed up adults. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.